I understand why you'd say that, and right now it's accurate. If we just go back over the last couple years, over last year to this year, the playoffs plus regular season, because we go back any further, that's when the Sixers were in full rebuild mode. The Sixers, since they've been a good team, since Embiid's been healthy, since they've had Ben Simmons, they're now 2-8 against the Boston Celtics. They lost in 5 in the playoffs. They lost 3 out of 4 in the regular season last year. And then last night, they were thoroughly outclassed in the NBA's first game of the season. So I understand why Embiid feels that way. The Celtics also have a guy in Al Horford that guards Embiid as well as any player in the league. It is a credit to Horford because Horford's about 4.5 inches shorter than Embiid. Embiid's a better athlete than him. Embiid is stronger than he is. But Al Horford has always given Joel Embiid fits. And so last night you saw that. You also saw one team that can send waves at you. And the Sixers team, as I said yesterday, even though I'm very high on them, they are a thin team. They are a starting 5 and a couple possibles. The Celtics have 2 legitimate starting 5s, and that was a big part. That's why they can overcome Kyrie last night, no showing, and still win this game going away.
Yeah, the Celtics, this is who the Celtics are going to be. Any given night. They have so many paths to victory. That's what I saw. And Nick pointed out the lack of depth the 76ers going to have. Markelle Fultz, what is his actual potential now? Saw him start the game. Brett Brown, the coach there, that said, man, we believe in him. He's better as a starter. And all of a sudden, they come in the second half. He only plays 3 minutes in the second half. Didn't start in the third quarter. So for me, they already have huge question marks going forward. Now, Nick showed me one time this offseason where Ben Simmons was shooting jump shots, but obviously didn't have a whole bunch of makes in there because he's still going to struggle. He's a phenomenal basketball player, but his inability to be able to shoot the ball from range, it crowds the court. Him and Markelle Fultz on the court at the same time, now so people can slough off. They're in the lane, and it stunts the growth for them offensively. So Boston, who do they have on any given night can be a superstar? One of probably 5 or 6 players. When you have 2 of your starters only contribute in Kyrie Irving and Al Horford, they can contribute 16 points.
And Gordon Hayward only gave you 10?
Yeah, and I'm just saying, those 2 right there didn't score in double figures. At least Gordon scored in double figures.
Right.
There's so many more ways that they can win. And they have one of the best coaches, if not the best basketball coach, as far as timeout, individual possessions in Brad Stevens. So I think the Celtics, outside of the Warriors, this is not because they played one game. This is what I thought going into the season.
Yeah.
And as we go through the season, I believe it plays out that Boston is the second best team in the NBA.
We talked coming into this game about, we call them rich problems that Brad Stevens had. Shot distribution among Tatum and Kyrie and Gordon Hayward. And maybe the first game didn't quite shake out. Hayward hasn't played in a long time. Kyrie also coming off an injury. But how does Brad Stevens handle that? I mean, you saw that clearly Tatum is not lost.
You got a superstar in Jason Tatum. You got a superstar in Jason Tatum. And people need to adjust their eyes, and his teammates need to adjust accordingly. Like, Kyrie's never played on a team like this. Kyrie's never played on a team with this much talent. Even those Cavs teams that went to the finals, they had the best player in the world. Kyrie was a clear number 2, and then a third option in Kevin Love.
Right. They had 3 all-stars, but they didn't have the overall depth. After Kevin Love, it was a serious drop-off.
And those Cavs teams weren't running plays for Kevin Love. So on possessions that LeBron wanted to rest and stand in the corner, they were totally fine with Kyrie. Dribble, 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 and do your thing. That's not going to be a big part of the Celtics offense. That's not the best way for them to move forward. Now, Kyrie's not going to go 2 of 14. He might not go 2 of 14 again all season. But it is going to be an adjustment for him. I think it is, like you said, rich people problems. See, to your point about the Sixers, man, they looked like a team that hadn't worked on one offensive set all offseason. Now, that defense is going to carry them to 50 wins alone. They will be, these 2 teams might be the 2 best defenses in the league by the end of the year. I'm certain Philly's going to be a top 3 defense. But offensively, they are so congested. And Markelle Fultz, I mean, he played 21 minutes, in the first half? And 3 minutes in the second half? Markelle Fultz is a problem, and not in a good way right now. And when you only have a 7-man rotation, particularly until Wilson Chandler comes back, if Markelle Fultz looks anything like he did last night moving forward, they have a big gaping hole in their roster because they need him to be their big offseason acquisition.